Okay, as I'm rolling out my last coil, I wanted to bring something up. I've rolled several, and when you're rolling your coils, first of all, if you notice any cracks forming in the clay, all you have to do is take your water, dip your finger in it, and roll it along the clay. And then when you continue to roll, hopefully those cracks will disappear. Another thing, when you roll it with both hands, make sure you keep the hands together, because if you run one direction and one the other, you're going to end up twisting your coil, and it'll put stress on it and it will cause it to break. I'm trying to think of any other issues. Oh, if you accidentally roll the coil too thin, you can just re-wedge it and start the rolling over again. If we were making a regular coil inlay pot, I would say save the small coils and we can do something with them. But for this coil inlay pot, you really need every single one of your coils to be about pinky thickness. Again, about pinky thickness. So I've got my coils, and now I'm ready to load them into my pot. So what you want to do when you're getting ready to load up your coil is you want to start with just a simple spiral. So I'm going to take my first coil and I'm going to start rolling it on my workstation, kind of like a cinnamon roll. And you're going to roll it up. And then you're going to place it inside your bowl. Okay, now my next coil I'm going to line up and I'm going to start it right where the first coil ends. So I'm going to take my next coil, and if you want you can trim the edge so it's nice and smooth, and I'm going to lay that inside the bowl and I'm going to start building it up. Now, I'm going to kind of hold it up so you can see what I'm doing. As I lay each coil into the bowl, I am pushing on the plastic bowl so that the coils push towards the outside of the plastic bowl. You do not want to lay a coil on top of a previous coil so that there's an air pocket. So you'll notice I'm laying them right along the wall of my bowl. I'm going to take my next one. And by the way, if the edges look a little rough and you want to smooth them out, just take your little knife, cut it, and you can put a new one right there. Again, I'm starting right where I left off. I'm pushing on to the wall of the plastic bowl. Okay? Now, I need to smooth the inside of this bowl together. Now, for some of you, you will want to use the clay tool. Remember, you were able to pick a clay tool, and if you would like, you can take that clay tool and you can smooth the coils together. What you want to do is you want to lock them together so that they become one solid piece. I, on the other hand, like to just use my fingers. So if you'll notice, I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to smooth the coils together. And I'm going to do this as I build up the walls. So you'll notice I'm not at the top of the wall yet, but I'm still going to smooth these together, because that way I know that they're going to stay in place. Now, when you do smooth them together, please make sure it's smooth. You don't want it to be rough on the inside. Now, you will notice that we are using coils to build up the walls of our pots. Many of the early potters used potter's wheels. This is a hand building technique, and we need to make sure that everybody understands the hand building techniques at middle school. So when you get to high school, you might actually have access to a pottery wheel, and you can make it just like those early potters did. But for our middle school teaks, you have to understand coil. So that is why we are making a coil pot. So as you can see, I've smoothed the inside together, but I'm not up to the edge of my bowl yet. So because I'm not up to the edge, I need to keep adding my coil. So I'm going to take my next coil, I'm going to wrap it around, I'm going to smooth it together. And I'm going to make sure that I reach the top of my bowl. If I need to cut it, you can either use the plastic tool or you can use your plastic knife, whatever you're more comfortable with. I'm going to smooth this very last coil together. And by the way, you'll notice I rotate my pot as I smooth it together. You rotate the pot so that it stays even all the way around. You don't want to just stay in one place, because then you would have parts of your walls that would be thin and other parts that would be thick. So now I have a coil inlay pot that is going to create the first half of my face jug. Once it's smoothed out, and you know that it is at least the height of the bowl, I hope you all can see that, then you're ready to move on to the next part. I'm going to pause it here and go ahead and see you in just a little bit for the next stage.